I got a marriage license with my sworn enemy under the coercion of our families. On our wedding night, he showed off his 8-pack IBS and the inverted triangle muscle lines. Are you fascinated? Call me husband and I'll let you touch it. I directly put on a cool nightgun. Nice. Right? Call me daddy and I'll show it to you again. I had fantasized countless times that the man I would marry would wear Italian haute couture and come to marry me while driving a Ferrari with one hand. But I never thought that this person would be Leo, my sworn enemy who has been against me for more than 20 years. He was pressed out of the car by Uncle John by the neck. It didn't look like he was going to get a marriage license, but rather like he was going to the execution ground. I burst out laughing. Leo gave me a dirty look. My mom gave me a rap on the head. Be serious. Don't be so giggly. In the next second, a smile transferred to Leo's face. Aunt John tittied up my evening dress and laughed the loudest. I said it. These two are a perfect match. I suspected that blindness was contagious. Otherwise, after my mom said that it would be great if Leo were her son-in-law, the two families found each other more and more pleasing to the eye. They quickly conspired and reached a consensus. They wanted Leo and me, these two single nobles of advanced age, to get a marriage license and get married. A happy union is impossible, but deep-seated grudges have long been formed. Since childhood, Leo has been looking down on me. He pulled off the little white flower on my head, said the skirt I was wearing was ugly, laughed at my poor academic performance, and thought I was stupid and clumsy like a cow's egg. The chubby chow chow next door that looks like a ball. I was not willing to be outdone either. I broke the building blocks he had just put together, hid his summer vacation homework, and secretly threw some into his lunchbox. The main idea was that neither of us should have an easy time. After stumbling along all the way and finally growing up, he started to break up my romances. Every time I liked a boy, he would try his best to collect other people's dark histories. The one before last guy, he said that the other person didn't take a bath for a week. The one before that guy, he said that the other person had 3 girlfriends. The last guy finally passed the political review and was a prite. On our first date, he popped up halfway and pretended to be my mentally handicapped and drooling younger brother. He forcibly broke up the couple and scared the other person away. I was not to be outdone either. When a girl confessed to him, I would spread rumors that he was extremely stingy. The gifts he gave 2 girls were no more than 9 yuan and 90 cents. He mended a pair of underwear for 3 years and wore a pair of socks until they became 3-dimensional. Under our mutual attacks, we finally successfully remained single until we were 28 years old. The parents of both families were extremely disappointed and started to matchmake randomly. They rushed us to the Civil Affairs Bureau and got the marriage license directly, achieving everything in one step. Regarding this, Leo and I reached an unprecedented harmony. A pose. In the 21st century, we refuse parents' arranged marriages. 3 days later, we came to the Civil Affairs Bureau together. It was all because his parents gave too much. The 2 large luxury apartments under Leo's name were transferred to my name. The 3 sports cars in Leo's garage were transferred to me. The deposit of around 3 million in Leo's bank card was transferred to my account. And the betrothal gifts given by Uncle John and Aunt John were calculated separately. Overnight, I stepped into the wealthy class and Leo fell to the bottom. I patted Leo on the shoulder. Obey your parents' orders and the words of the matchmaker. Just give in. Leo flew into a rage. XX. This was the first time we had reached a consensus on the same thing. Half an hour later, both parents held the bright red marriage license and tightly tucked away the household registration books. They congratulated each other and agreed to celebrate, leaving only Leo and me standing at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau with people coming and going, in a state of confusion, and our luggage that was haphazardly packed. To wife. Shall we go home now? Leo scratched his head. The word wife came out extremely smoothly. I jumped up and kicked him on the butt. You're so full of yourself. Last time you lost the bet, we agreed that you would call me daddy. You are really unfilial. Leo raised an eyebrow and kept saying, wife. Wife. Wife! While pulling the suitcase and running very fast. Unexpectedly. As soon as we got the marriage license, both of us were driven out of our homes, and were arranged to live in the new house arranged by both families. A 300 square meter luxury house by the river in the city center. In addition to the large floor-to-ceiling windows, there is also a bathtub facing the rolling river. I have even thought about having a wonderful time soaking in a rose bath, drinking red wine, and enjoying the night view. Wow! I couldn't help but stretch out my hands and embrace the new life. Looking back, I saw Leo hanging the SpongeBob SquarePants boxer shorts I brought back for him from Sonia into the closet. Among all the new products of the season, it was cheap and eye-catching. I said, "Why are you hanging it in the master bedroom? You sleep in the second bedroom." Leo frowned. "What do you mean? We sleep separately? Selena. We are legal couples with black and white evidence and good reasons." He turned his head. "I am penniless now. Apart from you, my wife, I have nothing. Sleeping separately? Impossible. So arrogant even when you have no money?" I rubbed my forehead. "What do you mean?" I saw him glance with his eyes and curl up a malicious smile. I subconsciously took 2 steps back. Then I saw him start taking off his clothes. First the suit jacket, then the shirt, piece by piece, revealing 8-pack abs and inverted triangle muscle lines. I have to admit that Leo really has something to be proud of in this regard. With a height of 1.88 meters, a strong body, and a face comparable to a star, it's hard for any woman not to be tempted. Sweat began to form on my forehead and my heart began to beat faster. He raised his head. "Are you fascinated? Call me husband and I'll let you touch it." This kind of person is really annoying. The rippling heart is instantly occupied by comparison, and the warlike blood is clamoring. I quickly dug out a set of pajamas that couldn't be more refreshing. After coming out of the bathroom, Leo was stunned. I closed the bathrobe satisfactorily, sat down at the end of the bed with a plop, and crossed my legs. "Isn't it beautiful? Call me Dad, and I'll show you again. Who doesn't have a good figure? With my cartoon figure, curvy in all the right places. Outside, whoever sees it has to raise their hands for 3 minutes to show respect first." Leo's face was flushed. His earlobes were bright red, and he even stammered when speaking. Did you buy this yourself?" I was in high spirits. "Your sister-in-law gave it to me. She really cares about you." He took out a big box from the suitcase and poured out a bed full of condoms. "Likewise. Your brother-in-law is also very kind to you. After using all these, one would be exhausted." He opened his mouth and started talking nonsense again. "Humph. I not only want to sleep with you every day but also won't let you touch me. Make you crave it to death." As soon as I heard this, I was furious and jumped up from the bed. "I'll tear your mouth apart. I've known countless men. With your paltry offerings, you can't even catch my eye." Leo's earlobe twitched. "Known countless men? Coincidentally, I'm known as the lady killer. A person like you can't even pass my preliminary selection." I gave a flying check and used the 9-in white bone claw that I had practiced for 20 years. Leo was not to be outdone and resorted to the tricks of pulling braids from childhood. There was a commotion as we fought from under the bed to on the bed, only hearing a tearing sound from Leo, like a rooster crowing, followed by a carp leaping. He jumped off the bed. Immediately after was a scream. I saw him flash by, like a deflated hydrogen balloon, and toppled over crookedly. "Oh no. This seems a bit bad. 3 minor fracture. Just rest for half a month and it will be fine. Absolutely no strenuous exercise." The doctor's beady eyes behind the glasses rolled back and forth between us, full of meaning. No one would have thought that my good brother had put walnuts, peanuts, and chestnuts on the bed. All hard stuff. The moment Leo jumped off the bed, a hard walnut on the ground targeted his ankle. It gave him a silent blow. On the wedding night, he was successfully sent to the bridal chamber, the hospital ward. I dialed Sam's number. On other people's wedding nights, they put peanuts, long ans, and red dates. But you put walnuts and chestnuts. Why? While others are wishing for early birth of a noble child. For your sister. It's early creation of a nuclear bomb? After yelling at Sam, I handed the phone to Leo. If you scold him, you can't blame me. Unexpectedly, Leo was very understanding. Thank you, brother-in-law. I appreciate your kindness. Someday your sister and I will definitely work hard and have 7 or 8 naughty boys. I cut off the call with a snap and kicked his fractured foot. Leo's expression was distorted with pain, and he looked at Vivian standing beside him for help. Vivian, call the Women's Federation for me and say it's domestic violence. Vivian rolled her eyes. Disgusting. She put her hands in the pockets of her white coat. Don't play the drama of President Dr. Friend with me. Don't call me unless you're dying. This was said to me when Leo was in pain with his teeth clenched. I contacted Vivian, who is a doctor, as soon as possible. Only she is in emergency department. She doesn't treat people but only saves lives. Leo looked over with teary eyes. It's all because my wife is too nervous. Before he could finish speaking, he was interrupted by a sudden voice. A little girl in a plain dress stood at the door of the diagnosis room. She took off her mask and baseball cap, gently lifted her long hair, revealing a pure and elegant face and slightly red eyes. Brother Leo, are you sick? It was the hot new starlet, Wendy. For I am still relatively familiar with this little girl. She has both beauty and acting skills. All the films she starred in received excellent responses. After Leo promoted her for 3 years, she became famous and is already a strong candidate for the next Best Actress. The reason I am familiar with her is that this little girl was recommended by me to Leo. Wendy trotted in, and her eyes filled with moisture. Brother Leo, how did you sprain your ankle? Is it serious? Leo frowned slightly. Why aren't you filming on the set? What are you doing at the hospital? Wendy checked Leo's tightly wrapped ankle, and then asked the doctor, how serious is the injury? How long will it take to recover? Should we avoid spicy food in the diet? When can the plaster be removed? Vivian nudged me, her eyes full of ambiguity. Leo followed her gaze and looked over. The doctor writing the prescription paused and pricked up his ears. Whom should I explain to? Leo and I said in unison. Her. I pointed at Wendy, and Leo pointed at me. Leo immediately put on a mournful face. Wife, you don't care about me anymore. He stood up shakily, and his outstretched hand was just held by Wendy. Brother Leo, let me help you. Vivian sneered. NPH. Interesting. Wendy's face changed slightly but quickly adjusted. Brother Leo will be taken care of by sister. She lowered her head. With a hint of sadness, Leo pulled his hand back and put it on my shoulder, then moved over and stood beside me. The Academy Awards are coming soon. You should prepare well. Wendy suddenly raised her head. Her gaze swept over me, and her eyes sparkled. I will definitely work hard and win the Best Actress. She was like a little white rabbit, bouncing and running to pay the bill and get the medicine. I am rather relieved. Vivian pulled me aside. Everyone else is like a new official who shows his medal with 3 fires when taking office. But on your first day as Mrs. Zhang, you are provoked by a competitor. It doesn't matter, as long as the money is in place. I can even take care of a mistress during her confinement. Vivian gave me a thumbs up. What a big heart. However, her tone changed. I see Leo's wife being called with such sincerity. This time, it's the onlookers who are confused while the person involved is clear. I have been competing with Leo for so many years. If I can't even detect this teasing tone, haven't I lived in vain? Leo seizes every opportunity to disgust me. Of course. So do I. However, Vivian's tone changed again. When did you become so money-oriented? 5 Due to Leo spraining his ankle, the wedding originally scheduled for a month later had to be postponed helplessly. The 2 families conveyed deep greetings and regrets. The greetings were hoping that Leo would recover from his injury soon. The regrets were for fear that changes would occur if it took too long. Regarding this, they reached a consensus again that I would take full care of Leo. In the name of cultivating feelings, my mother personally cooked pig's trotter soup and asked me to deliver it to Leo's company. As a result, I couldn't even get on the elevator. I didn't deliberately hide the matter between me and Leo, nor did I publicize it on a large scale. Only those with relatively close relationships were notified of the wedding. When the front desk stopped me, I wasn't surprised. In the gap when I took out my phone, I saw Wendy walk in, wearing a big sun hat and sunglasses and carrying a takeout box. She was slightly stunned for a moment when she saw me, and then walked quickly towards the elevator lobby. The front desk sighed softly behind me. Wendy is here again. Whenever President Zhang is in the company, she can always be encountered. She sighed at me. Didn't you say you are the president's wife? Why doesn't Wendy know you? She is the top figure in the company. I think she is another one who wants to hook up with President Zhang. There have been more than 10 this month. She quietly asked me. Are you trying to become famous and looking for President Zhang as a sugar daddy? As I was pondering over this, again, I saw Leo's assistant already rushing over in a panic. Madam, I'm sorry to have kept you waiting for so long. His voice was quite loud. People in the hall all looked over. In an instant, it was quiet. Only the sound of the front desk gasping in surprise could be heard behind me. Assistant Wang took the insulated lunchbox from my hand and escorted me towards the elevator lobby. You don't come here often, so everyone doesn't know you. I have already informed all departments. President Zhang was just in a meeting with his phone on silent mode, so he didn't hear. He doesn't know you are here yet. When he sees you later, he will definitely be happy. After getting off the elevator and turning to corners, I saw him sitting face to face with Wendy, having lunch and chatting and laughing. He was indeed quite happy, but I wasn't very happy. The office door was not closed, and we looked at each other just like that. Assistant Wang's expression changed. I picked up the thermos and walked in. It seems that I came at an inopportune time. If I had known she was coming, I wouldn't have come. Leo leaned on the table and was about to reach for his crutches. Grandma, today instead of playing Lucy Shena, you are playing Linda you? He glanced at the insulated bucket. You brought delicious food. Why didn't you tell me in advance? Wendy couldn't get a word in and wanted to help Leo. Leo set up his crutches and just bypassed her hands. She stood there with her hands outstretched, her face flushed with embarrassment. Leo reached out for the insulated bucket. I walked around Leo and sat down on his seat. It seems you don't need it, aren't you already full? I'm still hungry. Leo grinned and opened the insulated bucket. The pig's trotter soup stood by our mom is so fragrant. He scooped up a piece and put it in his mouth. His voice muffled. Wife, have some too. Wendy came over and took an empty bowl for me. Yes. Sister, have some too. I ordered some dishes that Leo brother likes. I don't know if you like them. No scenes in the afternoon? Leo asked. Wendy was stunned. I have to go take the makeup stills for a walking with you. In the afternoon. Then what are you still doing here? Wendy hesitated and walked towards the door. Leo said again. Take away the trash and close the door. The little girl's back was now full of sadness. I couldn't help but feel sorry for her. So harsh on the little girl? Remembering the again, that the front desk said. I continued. Or are you always so harsh to them in front of me? Leo's eyes rolled and his eyebrows raised. Jealous? His tone became more and more firm. Jealous seeing how popular I am. I patted his cheeky expression and took out my phone. I just see that you, the playboy, are so skillful. I want to learn a few tricks. I opened the photo album. Look. How can I balance these few boyfriends of mine and make them get along peacefully without breaking up? 6 Mother Jiang's call came very importantly, just blocking Leo's explosive tone. She said on the phone. Are you and Leo free to come back for dinner tonight? I stewed pork rib and mung bean soup. It's my favorite dish. And Leo's favorite dish is the pig's trotter soup stewed by my mother. During the college entrance examination period, the pressure was particularly great. Both sets of parents would stew these two soups every day. Mother John would send it to me, and my mother would send it to Leo. Every time when drinking the soup, Leo would chatter beside me, "When I have a girlfriend, you won't be able to drink this soup anymore. My mom said that this soup will only be stewed for my girlfriend. Unless you marry me. Otherwise." I scoffed. "In your dreams." Leo was speechless and blushed. "As if anyone would fancy you. Now, whether it's a beautiful dream or not, whether he fancies me or not, I really married him." I glanced at Leo. He was smiling, less serious at work. He listened obediently to Mother Jiang's words and nodded repeatedly. "Sure. Let's come back early." After hanging up the phone, he tapped my nose. His voice was doting. "Ugly daughter-in-law. I'll take you to meet my parents in the evening." I was startled by his sudden intimacy and was so stunned that I didn't react. The atmosphere froze. A wave of heat rose, and even my breathing became a little unsmooth. Leo leaned over and lowered his head. His tone was flamboyant, but his eyes fell on my temples. His cheeks gradually turned pink. "Why don't you speak? Are you charmed by me?" Perhaps he was too close. It was as if there was a fly flying in my head, making a continuous buzzing sound. Unlike before, even if I pinched his butt before, I didn't feel ambiguous. Now, just a tap on the nose makes me feel uncomfortable all over. His eyes moved down and gradually became obscure. Bursts of scorching breath sprayed on my lips. Something's wrong. He wants to kiss me. At the moment the alarm bell rang, the handsome face in front of me flashed by, accompanied by a scream. Leo's face on my legs. "Pa!" It was the sound of a crutch falling to the ground. Leo tremblingly supported the chair handle and knelt on one knee. His sprained foot tried to lift backward. Assistant Leo suddenly opened the door and then suddenly covered his eyes like a copper bell. "Sore. Sorry to disturb. Help. Me." Leo squeezed out the words through his teeth. After helping him up, his face had already turned bright red. I watched him with great interest for a while, and asked him with a smacking sound, "Were you trying to kiss me just now?" Leo's eyes dodged. But he was still stubborn. "Nonsense. I don't want to kiss you at all." I chuckled and aimed at his mouth and pounced on him, pressing him on the sofa and pinching his chin with one hand. "What are you doing?" "Kissing you." Leo was stunned, and the blush on his face deepened a few more degrees. He turned his head, unconsciously licked his mouth, and slightly closed his eyes. Looking at his expectant look for a kiss, I couldn't hold back my laughter and collapsed on the carpet. "What are you waiting for? Waiting for me to kiss you?" Leo came to his senses and his face turned completely black. "Selena, are you teasing me?" Tee-hee-hee. I stuck out my tongue at him, making him so angry that he wanted to beat me to death with his crutch. 7 Until we returned to the Jiang family while playing and fighting all the way. Jiang's mother gave each of us 2 taps on the head before we calmed down. "You two are already married. Can't you be more mature? Tell me, what's your grievance this time?" As soon as Jiang's mother asked, Leo's face turned a few more degrees red. He touched the back of his head and stammered, "No. Nothing." I raised my voice. "Mom." He wanted to kiss. Before I could finish speaking, Jiang's mother suddenly stood up. "What did you call me?" I was a little confused and tentatively called out again. "Mom?" "Yeah." Jiang's mother answered loudly and pulled my hand. She took out 2 pieces of gold from her bag and stuffed them into my hand. "Good child. This is your fee for changing your address." 2 pieces of gold weighing 1,000 kilograms lay heavily in my palm, making me dizzy. "I called you back. Originally, I wanted to talk about buying you 5 pieces of gold jewelry. My taste is old-fashioned. I'm afraid you won't like it. So I bought gold bars. If you like any style, go to a gold store. and have it made yourself. As she said, Jiang's mother gave me 2 more pieces. My voice trembled. Mom, you can't do this. Yeah. Jiang's mother answered excitedly and added 2 more pieces. For a while, I couldn't hold them all. Mom, that's enough. Enough. Yeah. Accompanied by Jiang's mother's answer, there were 2 more pieces. Her tote bag was like Doraemon's pocket. She kept taking things out as if there was no bottom. I couldn't hold them anymore. I piled them all on the sofa. Mom. My covered my mouth. Don't call anymore. If you call again, our family will go bankrupt. I shook him off and firmly grasped Jiang's mother's hand. With tears in my eyes. Mom, do you want a grandchild? Do you like boys or girls? 2 or 3? I'll give birth until you are satisfied. Jiang's mother was excited. She pursed her lips and patted my hand, looking as if I had said what was in her heart. I'm not picky. As long as it's Leo's. I nodded solemnly. After having dinner, I found a plastic bag, packed up the gold, and pulled Leo home. As soon as we got home, I couldn't wait to push him onto the bed. Quickly, I stripped off his completely. In the chaos, I took the opportunity to touch his abdominal muscles hard. Leo held my hand that was unbuckling his belt. His voice trembled. What are you doing? I answered simply. Making a baby. My action of unbuckling his belt was stopped by him again. He turned his head aside and his Adam's apple moved. Wait. Seeing that he was a little reluctant, I pouted and lay down beside him. Forget it if you don't want to. No. Leo turned his head eagerly. I just want to ask. Are those men in your phone really your boyfriends? So. He was about this matter. THEE. I said. They are the leading actors I picked for Walking with You before. Leo said oh, and seemed to have a hint of joy. I subconsciously looked over and just saw the corner of his mouth that he didn't have time to withdraw. He stopped laughing and coughed. You. Aren't you coming? I shrank my neck. What? Leo lifted his sprained foot and said in a voice as thin as a mosquito's. I sprained my foot. It's not very convenient. It's going to be hard on you. He tentatively poked my waist and scratched the itchy flesh on my waist. I couldn't help but let out a soft laugh. The hand on my waist instantly became bold, holding my waist. It guided me to straddle his waist. Leo struggled to squeeze out a word, like this. Then impatiently pressed my head and roughly kissed the corner of my lips. A cold wind poured into my waist. As if a lively fish had gotten in and kept making waves. In between gasps, Leo's cell phone rang nonstop. On the 3rd ring, I couldn't take it anymore and motioned for him to answer the phone first. Leo took a deep breath and then withdrew one hand. Picked up the phone. The moment he connected, he roared furiously, "You'd better have something life or death important. Otherwise, I'll kill you." There was silence on the other end of the phone for 3 seconds. Then came Assistant Liu's pitiful voice. President Zhang. Miss Liu fell from the wire. Find a doctor. Why are you looking for me? It's suspected that someone has tampered with it. Leo ground his teeth. Call the police. The other party is an artist from Jia Chang. The boss of Jia Chang has already rushed over. Do you think you need to go and show your face? Leo withdrew his other hand and helplessly put his hand on his forehead, squeezing out a word through his teeth. Okay. A tie sensibly rolled off him, lying on one side. I adjusted my breathing. Leo sighed, dragged his sick leg, and kissed my face. I have other cooperations with the boss of Jia Chang. I have to go. I'll be back soon. At the door, he turned back again, his eyes full of sorrow. Will you wait for me? When I come back, we can continue. I rolled my eyes. Leo held on to the door, got a satisfactory answer, and then left in a hurry. As a result, this wait lasted for half a month. At that time, I was pulled by Vivian to try on wedding dresses. I tried on several pieces. But she perfunctorily said they were all beautiful. Instead, she was very picky about her own bridesmaid dress. Just when I couldn't reach the zipper on my back and asked the store manager for help, Wendy's voice came from the TV. With my back exposed, I listened to this confident and shy interview of hers. Along the way, I want to thank a special person. He pulled me out of the mire and swamp, led me to the stage and spotlight, and helped me realize one dream after another. He is a good teacher and a good friend, an angel and also a beloved. In the past, I couldn't participate. In the future, I want to move forward hand in hand with him. With a deep smile, she called out my husband's name. He is the best Leo brother in the world. I only felt dizzy. Vivian was quick-eyed and quick-handed and turned on the TV. At the same time, she pinched my philtrum. Take a deep breath. Don't be angry. Her one-sided statement doesn't represent Leo's meaning. Who is Leo? The entertainment president. Who is Wendy? A popular star. Without Leo's tacit consent, would Wendy dare to make such a confession-like statement publicly? Without Leo's protection, would Wendy appear in the hospital? Would she have lunch with him in the company? What Vivian said is purely self-deceiving. When I looked over with my eyes, she turned her face away. I took off the wedding dress. Where are you going? Vivian asked. Are you going to serve as a postpartum caregiver? Hey! I said you're not short of money? When did you start worshipping money? Her tone changed. Let's go find him now. Bring a knife. You be responsible for stabbing, and I'll be responsible for rescuing. Then find you a lawyer friend. How about spending less than 2 years in prison? I was almost angered into laughter. Vivian said in a low voice, in fact, you like Leo. Right. You, Selena, are rebellious. If you don't want to, who can force you to get a marriage license and try on wedding dresses? I felt rather powerless. I opened my mouth, but the words of subconscious rebuttal couldn't come out. Vivian tried hard to salvage my relationship with Leo. I think Leo still likes you. For so many years, neither of you have been in a relationship. After going around and around, you two even got a marriage license. Having been against Leo for so many years, at first everyone thought there was something between us. After several confrontations and being at odds like fire and water, everyone gradually lost this thought. I smiled. If he likes me, I won't touch a man in my life. What? Leo's voice suddenly rang out. Selena, what are you saying? What, not touching a man? Vivian held up the phone. Leo said you're not answering the phone. So he called me. Do you want to hear what Leo has to say? Leo roared on the other end of the phone. Selena, don't listen to the nonsense on the internet. I still have 2 hours and 36 minutes to arrive. I'll explain to you in person. 9. There are still 2 hours before Leo comes back. And the internet has already exploded. One hot search after another has gone up. Wendy's confession-like statement, the best Leo brother in the world, Wendy Leo. Cinderella comes to life. As soon as one hot search is removed, another one goes up. Even if Assistant Wang removes them as quickly as possible, he can't keep up with the speed of public opinion fermentation. The story of the president and the female star is like a real-life romance novel. One is a Cinderella who comes out of the mountains and is as pure as a blank sheet of paper. The other is a powerful CEO. He discovers Cinderella from among the extras and supports her all the way, helping her grow into a famous actress. Such a plot is inherently full of topics. Wendy posted 3 consecutive Weibo posts. The first one was about when she was 18 years old. She was an extra on a film set and was discovered by Leo. Since then, she has had a backer in the unpredictable entertainment circle. The second one was about the little things between her and Leo, such as visiting on the set, giving acting advice, and some private photos of them together. The third one was about the movies she has starred in recent years, and her nomination for the Golden Statue Award. The caption read, "This time it seems that I can stand by your side openly and justly." With tens of millions of reposts, People praised their fairy tale love. There were also sporadic doubts. Does one person announce official relationships now? What does Leo say? Assistant Wayne is extremely busy. On one hand, he has to arrange public relations. And on the other hand, he reports the progress of handling to me. It's like sending a work diary. My phone keeps ringing nonstop. Originally, I didn't want to look at it, but I was forced to eat the whole melon. Mother John had only one phone call. I believe Leo is unaware. But if Leo can't even handle such a small matter well, he is not worthy of being with you. There is still 1 hour and 50 minutes before Leo comes back. Someone posted my and Leo's wedding invitation. Didn't you receive the notice? The bride's name is not Wendy. It was like dropping a soldering iron into ice water, instantly stirring up 1,000 waves. The 3 words Selena appeared in the hot search. Everyone is guessing who I am. The authenticity of the invitation is also questioned. Vivian gave me a thumbs up. Are you possessed by a capybara? Why are you so stable emotionally? The mistress has gone all out. She nudged me. Are you thick-skinned or already planning to make Leo leave with nothing? In fact, neither. I've figured it out. Mother John has already given the standard answer. I sincerely suggested, have some peanuts with some wine? 10 before I could have any wine. Wendy called several times in a row. Thinking of her, I was filled with anger. I couldn't think of any good words she would say to me. So I didn't answer. After calling 4 or 5 times, she gave up. A large number of contents about Wendy and Leo being in the same frame began to appear online, including in the hospital, having lunch in the company, and recent photos of Leo being with her. It turns out that Leo has been with her for most of the past half-month. Even when Leo had his cast removed in the hospital, she was nervously accompanying him. The continuously exposed photos all prove their sweet romance, without exception. The falseness of the invitation is almost confirmed as seeking attention for traffic. At the same time, there is another version. Leo marrying Selena is a business alliance and is forced by the situation. Wendy is a little white flower, true love, and an unreachable white moonlight. The key is that Wendy liked this content, instantly pushing the heat to an unprecedented climax. But among the uniform blessings, there began to appear opposing voices. Why doesn't Jiang's entertainment issue a statement? Is this how President Jiang lets his girlfriend fight alone? At this time, there is still half an hour before Leo comes back. Vivian began to popularize first aid tips for fainting caused by excessive emotions, and pointed out several places that don't hurt vital parts, and said that the president's doctor is on standby at any time. Oh, this is killing me. I yawned, drove her away, and began to wash up. When I finished taking a bath, and was about to see the newly released novel with the same names of the 3 of us online, Leo came back. 11 wife? Leo forcibly held me on his lap and hugged me in his arms, tentatively calling out, using his furry head to rub against my neck, just blocking my view of reading the novel. I helplessly closed my phone. There is nothing between me and Wendy. It couldn't be cleaner. The things online are all her own doing. The agent has been unable to contact her, which is why she has been talking nonsense for so long. The photos and the so-called traces to follow are all unfounded things. Don't believe them at all. In the past half-month, I was really on a business trip. Appearing in the same frame with her was to solve the accident that happened on the set that night with the boss of Jia Cheng. In the hospital, it was purely because she followed on her own. Previously, I did have the idea of using her to make you jealous. But after trying twice, I was more afraid that you would dislike me even more. So I didn't do it. I said, oh. Leo disappointedly looked into my eyes. Just oh? No other reaction? As soon as I opened my mouth, he captured my lips. He gently pressed down and said vaguely, don't say things that hurt me. I pulled away and looked at his uneasy eyebrows and eyes. My heart softened. Leo, when did you start to like me? Under the guise of bullying me, you broke up so many of my relationships. Haven't you confessed honestly yet? Leo raised his eyelids and glanced at me. Last year. Really? But what you wrote in your diary is that year when you were 18. When did you read my diary? Looking at Leo's agitated appearance, I couldn't help but touch his softer lobby and watch his ear tip turn red little by little. But on the surface, he still looked embarrassed and angry. I leaned closer to him and recited the original words in his diary. Oh. She is the bright moon in the sky, reflecting in my heart. Leo was completely shocked and collapsed. There are still 2 months before the wedding. If you handle Wendy well, it will be your betrothal gift. If you don't handle it well, let's see each other at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Leo's embarrassment disappeared in an instant, and he looked extremely happy. I didn't respond because I wanted you to deal with it. Since you said so. Wife. Just look at my sincerity. As he said that, his mouth and hands began to misbehave. I haven't seen you for more than half a month. I miss you so much. Let me kiss you. I jumped out of his embrace. You want a reward before the matter is done? Leo is as impatient as a monkey. He grabs me and says, just one kiss. 12. The online heat remains unabated. After several days of immersion, most people on the internet begin to discuss why Leo didn't make an official announcement together. Wendy seems to be putting on a one-woman show. The next time I see her is on the day of the Golden Statue Award ceremony. I go to the company to pick up Leo. Wendy is stopped at the front desk and not allowed to enter. When she sees me coming in, she loses her former air of arrogance. She nervously grabs my sleeve and says, Sister, can you let me see brother Leo? I am very disappointed in her. She has ruined a good hand. Seeing that I am unmoved, she begins to sob quietly. I take out a piece of paper and give it to her. Wipe your tears. The award ceremony is about to begin. As a special guest, I sit with Leo in the audience and wait for the announcement of the Best Actress. The process goes smoothly until right before the announcement. The organizing committee says, just last night, the winner of the Best Actress was changed. The originally designated actress has been disqualified. The organizing committee unanimously believes that acting skills are only part of the consideration for the Best Actress, while morality and quality are the bottom line for measurement. The Best Actress should set a good image for society and lead the development of the industry. Therefore, Ms. Wendy is disqualified from the selection. There is an uproar in the venue. On the highest podium in the entertainment industry, being publicly criticized by Nain, Wendy's acting career has come to an end. At the same time, Jiang's Entertainment issues 3 statements in succession. The person who discovered Wendy and recommended her to Jiang's Entertainment is Selena. Leo and Wendy only have a superior-subordinate relationship. It is definitely not as Wendy and what is said online. Some rumor mongers will be prosecuted. As of today, the contract with Wendy will be terminated. The 3rd statement is a picture. Leo and I got married and were captioned by the operation guy. Don't ask who Selena is anymore. She's our boss's wife. Above is a photo of me and Leo in suits and evening gowns getting our marriage license. Netizens comment one after another. What is Wendy doing? Mysterious operation. Too deep into the role? Having delusions? Wendy's really desperate. Trying to force away the original wife with one move? I've never seen people getting marriage licenses in evening gowns. Only true love attaches so much importance. President John has been brewing for so long and made a big splash. And the production team of Walking With You also issues a termination statement with Wendy at the same time. I spent 3 years writing the book Walking With You, and 2 years adapting it into a script. There are tens of millions of readers who like it. For the actress, I had already decided on Wendy long ago. Even if she doesn't win the Best Actress this time, with this movie, her status will rise another level. It's just a pity. After the organizing committee announced the Best Actress, it once again announced a shocking news. The actress of Walking With You will be this year's Best Actress, and the contract will be personally delivered by me, the screenwriter. Under the spotlight, Leo lifts my skirt and escorts me all the way onto the stage. He also quietly whispers to me, "Don't be nervous." He takes the microphone and says, "My wife has been writing novels and adapting scripts behind the scenes. This is her first appearance in front of the public. If she says something wrong because of nervousness, please be understanding." I embarrassedly poke his soft flesh at the waist. This scene is also captured by the media and becomes one of the hot topics of the night. Leo and Di, and the Golden Statue Awards ceremony dominate the heat. And Wendy's story also comes to an end here. The public may sigh for a while, but soon it will dissipate in time. No one cares about what happens to her later. 13 Leo and my wedding is held as scheduled. The difference is that many people and the media are invited temporarily. Until the end of the wedding, Leo is still very excited. Finally, he has obtained an official status. Before opening the wedding gifts, he is more careful. He lifts the quilt and sweeps out all the dates and peanuts spread on the bed before he feels relieved. At the critical moment, he seems to remember something. "Wife, when did you start to like me?" Epilogue. Leo, I'm almost 30. My mom is not at all worried about my lifelong event. She plays Machhorn and dances in the square every day. But the family next door with the big greedy girl is extremely anxious. She has a blind date every day. If this continues, I'm afraid I won't be able to catch up with the good ones. But I have been against her for more than 20 years. If I confess to her now, and say that I liked her since I was 18, she will probably think I'm crazy. I start to brainwash my mom. "Do you want a daughter-in-law? Do you want to hold a grandson?" She gives me a blank look. "It has nothing to do with me. You can like men if you want." Desperate. Later, I threaten her with being her own son. Finally, she relents. "Mom will go and propose marriage for you." Selena. On the day of the Wendy incident, Jiang's mother actually did one more thing. She gave me Leo's diary. Inside are recorded all of Leo's little thoughts about me. To sum it up, fighting is affectionate. Scolding is love. It turns out that all these years, he really has such thoughts about me. And when did I start to like him? Probably also when I was 18. When he stood on the basketball court, made a three-pointer, and whistled at me. The young man is bright, just like the rising sun.